Hey, what's up, y'all? Y'all good? I hope so. Y'all listen, let's get into this recap of Divorce in the Black. You know, that's the Tyler Perry movie that's on Amazon Prime. People already been talking about it. I already told y'all some people like it, some people don't like it, and some people just absolutely hate it. But hey, I can find some good in mostly anything that I watch, right? So we're going to get into this. I'm going to talk to y'all like I'm talk to my friends, like I'm telling them a story. It ain't gonna be word for word like the movie, but you know what? Let's see what we can do. All right. So everything that I'm saying in this video is in my opinion. It's for entertainment purposes only. And the Copyright Act of 1976, Section 107 gives me fair use to this recap that I'm about to do. All right. So let's get into it, baby. We're going to make the best out of it. Okay. So the movie opens with the funeral scene, the scene that's been all over the place. And you have the pastor saying that he has preached many funerals, and there have been moments when he was standing there that he had no convictions because the person was a good person. And I was like, Pastor, I think you are already starting this off wrong. Then he says, as he looks at Luke 16, verses 27 and 28. And I was like, not the verse that's warning the people about hell. Not that verse is it? And Ava, she was looking just like me. Both of us, we looking nervous. She tried to hold Dallas's hand. That's her husband. Okay. Dallas, he played by Corey Hardrick, and Ava is played by Megan Good. Okay. So she tried to hold his hand, but he pulled his hand away. I was like, I don't know if Pastor is being petty or if he just feel like this is in my ministry to speak the absolute truth. But whatever he was thinking and feeling, that mama was seething. And she said, are you saying my boy in hell? And I was like, ooh, this ain't gonna be good. Then the pastor really going in. So he started going in on all the brothers. And he said that Dallas was the only one that kind of, got on the right path. That mama said, I dare you to say it's because of your daughter. Cause that girl has done nothing but judge my boy and make his life miserable. And Ava looking down there, her like, me? Like she couldn't believe that she was saying that. That hurt her feelings. Pastor said, no, you didn't raise your boys right. And he called out all the wrong, y'all, that the boys had been doing in the town. And that the reason the son is no longer there is because he tried to rob an elderly lady and she took him out. But that mama, she was not backing down. No, sir, no, ma'am. She wasn't about to take no more of the pastor's mouth. And Ava called out for her. She's like, Mrs. Bertrand. That lady said, shut up. Now this time, the pastor wasn't taking it. And he told Mama Bertrand she better show Ava some respect because it's because of her that the church was paying to bury their son. That mama said she don't care. The Bertrands don't need his money. And she grabbed that purse and said, let me get the hell out of here before I say what's on my mind. And baby, the congregation was clutching them pearls and grabbing them church hats. All you could hear was, oh my God. And she messed them all over. She said, boys, get Cody. And me and the boys looking back at the casket like, that Cody? You want us to get him? And the deacons, so they tried to stop them, but the pastor said, let him go. Pastor is over it. If they want to take him, take him. Ava tries to get Mama Bertrand to stop, right? But she tells Ava, you did this. Like that lady is really convinced that Ava brought them there to make a fool out of them. But she has no control of what her dad was going to preach about. He said that he was led by the Spirit. Now, I don't know if it was the Spirit of the Lord or the Spirit of Petty, but somebody was leading him. So when they tried to roll the casket out, she was like, hell no. And at first lady told, you better watch your mouth up in this church. We were trying to help you. Baby, what she say that for? Mama Bertrand took the hat off and then started pulling on them clothes. I blinked and she done threw the shirt, baby. Threw it straight at the pastor. I said, now how did we get down in the valley where the girls get, you know what? I thought she was going to fight the mama, first lady. I was like, what is she doing? She about to pull some Vaseline out her purse? And I guess Ava thought the same because she went over there and stood by her mama. But honey, why did Mama Bertrand take her dress off? She took the shirt off. Then she took her dress off and threw that at the pastor. Ava keeps saying, Dallas, trying to get him to stop his mama. But all of those looks that the mama was giving. The boy was scared of that lady. She told Pastor, you think I need these hand-me-downs that your mama gave me? And I was thinking, well, you might not need them, but you took them and you earned them. Why you saying that y'all, all the Bertrands and we the Bertrands and the pastor better not ever forget that? But hey, do you, Mama Bertrand? She tells them again, get the boy. They get ready to pull the casket, and she said, no, take him out. And they were looking like I was looking. You mean like out the church, right? Because I know you ain't talking about take this money about this casket. But child, she was. She said, get him. Now, I've heard some funeral stories in my time. My mama's cousin is a funeral director, and we've heard a lot. But I don't think I've ever heard of anyone taking the body out the casket. I've heard about people stealing items off the deceased, pouring adult beverages in the casket, trying to get in the casket. You know, things like that. But not taking the body out the casket. Whew, the sons, they didn't want to do it. And she tells them that all they gonna say is that they paid for that casket. Take him out of there. They got him out. And the congregation was in an uproar. Pastor said, that's all right, church. They can have the body. God has already passed judgment on the soul. Well, they put Cody on the back of that pickup truck and they drove off. So Ava comes back and two of her friends were waiting. And one of them, her name is Rona. And Rona tells her, well, girl, it wasn't as bad as your wedding. And I'm like, too soon, Rona. It's too soon, baby. So Jim, that's Rona's husband, he suggests that Ava and Rona, they head back to the city and he'll stay in town, and try to find Dallas. But Ava doesn't want to, just leave Dallas after all the mess that went down at the funeral. But Jim says, I've known the Bertrands longer than you have, Ava. I know how to handle them. Rona tells him, she says she got it. Let's go. Jim is a bit taken aback by Rona's attitude, and he asks her, what kind of friend would I be if I didn't go check on him? But Ava jumps in before they get into an argument and lets them know, look, I got it. So they head on back to the city, and Ava, she on her way to try to find Dallas child. But before that, the pastor and the first lady, they come from the back. And the pastor, he apologizes, for his sermon, but he says that Cody had, he done a lot in this town. First lady doesn't want him to get started because today it already been a lot. So they ask Ava if she wants to come by the house for dinner. And she says no, she needs to find Dallas so that they can head back to the city. The dad can't believe she said that. He wants to know, where is the line? Like, what does that boy have to do to make you walk away? He tells her when she ran track, she attacked the finish line. So where is your finish line now? Now, that was a good analogy and all, but this ain't track. At least Ava don't see it that way. She reminds them that ever since she was a little girl, they raised her to be a good wife, stand by your husband, stay in a marriage. And that is what you preached, and that is what I saw you live. And right there, that's a problem. And there are a lot of women and men who think like that. You stay in a marriage, you fight for it. No matter what, just stick it out. That is not healthy. It's not even realistic. Why continue to take yourself through abuse, regardless of what kind it is, just to stay in a marriage that has no breath to it? That has to be exhausting. It has to be tiring to have to constantly put your marriage on a defibrillator just to shock some life back into it, or to manipulate your reality to be the fantasy that's in your mind. Her mama let her know, baby, me and Pastor, we ain't never been you in Dallas. And Ava feels like, and that's why you need to let me worry about me in Dallas. So she tells them that she needs to go. They hug and she leaves. But you can see the pain in their face. They don't want her to go. They wish they could forbid her. But the mom says, we raised her, and what we instilled in her, it'll make its way back to the surface at the right time. So Ava heads over to Mama Bertrand's house, and all of them were looking at her like, girl, why are you here? She tells them that she's sorry, and one of the sons says it's okay. But of course, Mama Bertrand is still an old evil lean, talking about the heck it ain't. It ain't okay. And she tells him that they should have buried Cody right there on the land with the other Bertrands. Everybody walks off and tells her that Dallas was in the back in the old truck. So She gets in, trying to ease the tension by having these little flashback conversations about when they were younger. But Dallas, he didn't want to hear that. He felt like Ava set them up to be laughed at, cause he swear he heard the parishioners laughing at them when they took that body out. But they weren't. And she tried to tell Dallas that. But he gets in his Ike Turner bag talking about, you trying to tell me what I heard? You don't know what all I've been through. And then he goes on this tangent about Ava trying to change him and she don't love him for who he is. She's crying saying, I do love you. But he tells her to get out the truck and just leave. But Ava doesn't want to leave because remember she told her folks they rode together. She want them to ride back together. But he don't care nothing about that. He told her she better get her tail out of that truck before he drag her out. And he reminded her that, I'll do it. So don't push me. So she gets out, she's hurt, she go back to her car, and I guess she was out there for a minute because she dozed off. But Mama Bertrand come bamming on the door talking about, what you still doing here? And she said that she was waiting for Dallas, but he wasn't even there no more. She asked her if she knew where he went, but Mama Bertrand said that she wasn't telling her nothing, and she told Ava to get off her land. Baby, Mama Bertrand, she don't like Ava. And Mama Bertrand, her real name is Linda. Baby, she's talking about just nasty and rude, honey. And I wonder if that's really her land. Because my dad's best friend, he lived on some land like for years. And I thought that it was their land. But when he passed away, I found out that it belonged to the white man up the street, and he drove down to the house and told the wife that she had to move because she was no use for him because she couldn't work the land, and my dad and a couple of her folks helped her move. And you would think this was back in the day, baby. This was in 2021. But back to the movie. So Ava already knew where to go. The town ain't that big, so it's easy to find where it was going to be. So she went down to the pool hall. She walked in, and Jack, I guess that's the owner, he let her know that the Bertrand boys back there and they running amok. But the only reason he hadn't called them folks was because of Ava. So she could hear the brothers talking, and one of them says, I told you not to marry that B. And I was like, well, dang, rudeness. So two of the brothers, you could tell they don't care for Ava. One of them, asked her how she felt about shaming his family. And the other says that she was always taking him away from them and he don't need that job. Well, listen here, little brother. Unless you plan on lining his pockets or paying his bills, he gonna work. So she pleads with Morris, and I'm thinking that this may be the older brother. He need this job. He got to go to work. So he says, give me a little bit and I'll walk him out. And so he tell her go on out to the car. And as she's walking out, she runs into this guy named Benji. And the way they were looking at each other, they must have been a thing or something back in the day. So Ava, she hesitates to give him a hug, like she keep looking over her shoulder. So I was like, does Dallas and Benji have some history or something? And before I could finish my thought, baby, here come the Bertrand boys talking about, you see this? And they start circling Benji like some wild hyenas, talking about he must want us to put these paws on him again. Dallas tells Benji to not even look at Ava. But Jack comes out that door, baby, with the Lone Ranger and tell them Bertrand boys that he ain't gonna have it tonight. Not tonight, baby. I ain't in the mood. So y'all better leave. Dallas tells Ava to get in the car. She goes to the driver's side and he tells her he driving. He snatches the keys from her and everything. She plead with him, you can't drive, you sloppy, you can't do this. So she looks at Morris and says, Morris, please tell him he can't drive. Morris says she's driving Dallas. Child, Dallas didn't like that. Gonna tell Morris, F you. And baby, they got to tussling. He was smacking Dallas all over their car. So then he put him on the passenger side and told Ava, leave. Go ahead and leave, Ava. So they make it back home, right? He was sloppy, honey. So Ava, she rolls over, but Dallas, he ain't in the bed no more. He was sitting by the toilet. He's still sloppy, and we know that a drunk tongue, baby, will speak a sober mind. Cause out of the blue, Dallas says, she told me to do it. And Ava has no clue, what he's talking about. And she asked him to do what? He said, unalive my daddy. But Ava, she confused by this cause she ain't never heard that before. And she like, who asked you to unalive your daddy? And I'm like, girl, he just told you that he did it. But then, in my opinion, he starts this pity party that's dressed in manipulation. He was asking her, why was she with him? He said that he ain't shiznick. She ain't gonna never have nothing better fooling with him, that he ain't no good. And she just rubbing his face talking about, you are, baby. You got a good heart. You're a beautiful person. She holds him and tells him that he can get help, but he says he don't need no help. Child, who that sound like? And that's a problem. You see he needs help. And I know you can't make him get it, but you can help yourself out of that marriage, because from the little I've seen from Dallas with his anger, his drinking, his mommy issues, and now his unwillingness to get therapy, baby, that's a lot. And he just said he took his daddy out. Girl, I can't believe you still there. At this point, what love got to do with it? In my Tina Turner voice. Rest in peace, Miss Tina. So the next morning, he done sobered up a little bit, at least to go to work. She made him some breakfast, but he doesn't eat it. He sarcastically says he got to go to work because, that's what she told Morris. So she asked him if they could talk about last night because he said some things that she wanted to talk about. He said he didn't know what she was talking about, and I think he does, but he covered it. He covered it by saying that he was drunk, and then he leaves. So Ava heads out and she stopped through to pick up Rona, and Rona apologizes for coming off a little insensitive after the funeral. But she asks Ava, how long you gonna put up with Dallas? How long are you gonna put up with that BS? She said, you too good for him. And the way they took that man's body out of that casket was crazy. The whole family is jacked up. Ava nods her head in agreement, but she says that the family did a number on Dallas. And I was with Rona. So do you think that by staying with him and dealing with his BS is helping him? And Ava comes in with another reason, some may call it an excuse, of why she is still with him. And she tells Rona that she just doesn't know everything that Dallas has been through. Like, you don't know everything that he's been through, the things that he's told me. So I'm listening to her and I'm hearing, all I'm hearing is he's been through a lot, and I don't want to be another person who hurt him, no matter all of the abuse he's put me through. Cause when the movie, the movie has only been going on for 24 minutes at this point. And I've seen the emotional abuse from when he told her that she didn't love him and asking her why was she with him. That lady came looking for you to make sure that you was okay. She didn't even go back to Atlanta without you because y'all came together, and you want to know, and you want to tell her that she don't love you. Then he turned on the mental abuse, which is basically gaslighting, and tried to make the whole funeral situation her fault. He told her that she set his family up to look crazy, and his mama told her the same thing at the church. Then he hinted at being verbally abusive when he told her she better get her butt out that truck or he'll drag her out. Then he said, cause I'll do it. And then there could have been some financial abuse because the brother said Dallas didn't need that job. And she looked at the older brother, Morris, and said, Morris, he need to get to work. So it sounds like Ava has been carrying the load. So Ava is trying to get Rona to understand that it's not as simple as it may seem, because every time his family does something to him, he shares a little bit more. I feel like it's only when he gets sloppy, because he doesn't seem like a very emotionally expressive person when he's sober. But Rona ain't letting up, because she it still doesn't make it okay. And she told her it's just like that nasty tail cat you rescued and cleaned up, and it kept attacking you. That's what you do. You rescue cats and you rescue ninjas. I was so glad when you got rid of that cat. Not only if you can get rid of that ninja. Rona doesn't like how Dallas treats her friend. They have been friends for 17 years and she can't stand Dallas. She says, you cook for him, you clean, work all day, you do everything, girl. I just don't like it. Maybe it's because you're the nice, sweet girl from the South and I'm that no-nonsense chick from up north. But I know one thing, baby. If Jim ever try anything like that, I'll snap that neck in 18 places. I was like, baby, Rona ain't playing. So it's the end of the day, right? Ava makes it home, and old Angry Bird is sitting at the island talking to himself, talking about, I'm sick of this Ava speaks. He doesn't. He just asks her if they told her about the dinner. She says yes. He wanted to know if she was ready to go. Mind you, she just walked in the house. She says, well, I just got in. I want to hop in the shower. I've been at work all day. This man gonna say, well, you ain't doing you sit around at a bank all day. She looks at the analog clock and it's 5:32. She says, listen, it's 5:30. The reservation isn't until 7. Give me 45 minutes. I'll make it quick. So she head on upstairs. This lady came back down at 6:08. So she came back in 40 minutes. She looking at her purse, making sure she has everything. She's like, okay, I got done early. She walk in the kitchen, baby Dallas is gone. She like, really? Then we get over to the restaurant and they are meeting up with Jim and Rona. And Rona wants to know, what's the purpose of all this? Jim says, just smile and nod. Angry Bird comes in and tells the waiter that he don't need to talk to him. Just give me some brown. Now, mind you, this is a very elegant restaurant. Everybody in there are dressed up and he dressed like he going to Chili's. So Rona asked him where was Ava. He said, I don't know. She was taking too long, so I left her. Jim just closed his eyes and exhaled because he knew it was going to be a long night, baby. Rona looked at Jim. She rolled her eyes and walked out. And Angry Bird, he's still yelling at the waiter, talking about, hurry up with that brown, man. Like, this fight is too much. So now we're only 27 minutes and 36 seconds into the movie. And I'm already over Dallas, okay? He is exhausting. I don't see how women stay with men like that. I don't see how Jim is still his friend. I know the type of women I come from and I know my family and they don't tolerate much. They had no problem setting boundaries. They will do it in a minute. Going to Target, if you know what I mean, on Sundays, and they don't mind walking away. And Dallas would have been left on that land in that truck parked behind his mama trailer home, messing around with me. So Rona, she went outside. She waited for Ava to pull up. She was like, that a-hole left you? Ava says, it's okay. I'm not mad, so you shouldn't be either. Okay, so they walk back in. Ava thanks them for inviting them and says that me and Dallas used to come here all the time, right, Dallas? But Dallas doesn't respond. But Rona does. She asks Dallas, you don't hear her talking to you? He gonna tell Jim, you better get your wife. And Rona like, ain't nobody gotta get me. Ava doesn't want any conflict. You can tell she don't like conflict. She just wants to have a nice night. But Angry Bird talking about, I can't remember when we have had a nice night. It's always, Dallas, don't do this. Dallas, don't do that. You need help. Then this trick gonna say, Jim, black women ain't ish. Why? Like, why are they like this? When have they truly supported us? Baby, Rona is squirming so much in her chair. She want to get up so bad. She want them. She want to get at him, baby. She told Jim that she was about to flip that table over. And she tells Ava that she don't know how she does it. That man gonna say, I see she tells your ghetto everything, huh? Just like she tells her mama and her daddy. Jim, look, man, I can't do this. No, I can't do it, Jim. I'm sorry, I can't. He sits back in his chair and says he want a divorce. We ain't got no kids, so this can be easy. You can keep the house because your parents gave us the down payment, and I don't want to hear their motherfucking mouth, okay? I'm not paying any alimony. You got a good job down there at the MF bank. I have a lawyer. I already had somebody look over it already. Get somebody down there to sign the dang on papers, Ava. And he's not using his inside voice when he's saying all of this. He hit the table and everything. Jim looking stunned. Rona ready to lay hands, and Ava just sitting there shocked. She can't believe none of this. Everybody looking at them, and he turns around and asks them what the F were they looking at, and takes another sip of that brown. Rona is heated. She like, this mother... Jim talking about Dallas. Look at me. You're wrong. I'm telling you, you're wrong, man. You wrong. Dallas leaves because he felt like Jim was judging him. So Rona takes Ava home, and on the drive she says she remembers hearing stories of women letting men take the best years of their life, and they were pushing that she was pushing 40, And Dallas had took her best years. He took her 20s when she was beautiful and sexy. He said that when she turned 40 in a couple of years, he wasn't going to want her because he don't know no man who wants no 40-year-old pocketbook, if you know what I'm saying. Rona let her know, girl, you are still beautiful and sexy, and you better in these years than you were back then. And you got better days ahead of you as soon as you get rid of his old sorry tail. And Ava sitting over there crying, talking about she's not here in her 20s anymore and he's going to leave her. They make it to the house and Rona, she was insistent on staying, but Ava told her she'll be okay. But before Rona leaves, she pulls out this letter. And it's a letter that she wrote of all the things that Dallas has ever done to Ava. And Ava said she didn't need no letter, like I lived it. And Rona let her know sometimes singing and writing makes a big difference. She told her she loved her. She placed the letter on the table. They hug and she leave. So Ava sits there for a minute. She picks the letter up, grabs her keys, and she drove to her safe space, which is her parents' house. Her mom walks in and she just breaks down. She told her, "You all right, Butterfly." I thought that was so pretty. She called her Butterfly. So the next morning, her parents are in the kitchen. She comes in. Her dad says, "I made you some breakfast, but I know you didn't drive an hour and a half for your father's breakfast." And what I liked about that scene was that they weren't forcing her to tell them what was going on. They just kept trying to make, small talk because they were trying to allow her the space and time to say whatever it was that she wanted to say. And she finally broke down that he wants a divorce. She said, "I did everything. I cooked, I cleaned, I worked. I tried to get him help, tried to get him to go to therapy, but he was so mean to me." Her mama said, "We're going to pray about this, but you can't just pray and not do nothing. We're going to figure this thing out." And I'm thinking, I hope y'all pray that she goes through with this divorce and not try to save this marriage. So later on that day, she goes for a run and she's reminiscing on the good times between her and Dallas. And then she just breaks down again. She goes home, gets freshened up, and then she goes downstairs, but you can hear her mama crying. And then the camera pans to the letter that Rona wrote Ava, her mama reading it. And she looked up at Ava and asked her, "What did I do wrong? What did I do wrong as a mom?" Cause in her mom's mind, there has to be something that I didn't do as your mom that will make you stay and put up with Dallas and all his mess. Plus, the last thing you said to me was that I taught you to be a good wife and take care of your husband. But Ava is reassuring her mom that she didn't do anything wrong. She just loved Dallas. She just thought that she could love him through all his trauma and his pain. She thought she could help him. But I'm thinking, Ava, baby, you can't help somebody who don't want to be helped. And you can't give medicine to a person who loves being sick. And she told her mama that she was trying to, save the marriage and be what she saw her mom be to everybody. And her mama let her know, "Yeah, I was out there trying to help everybody at the church, but I should have been there more for you. Cause reading this letter made me feel like I haven't done anything right. Like, why didn't you tell us you were going through all of this?" Ava said she was embarrassed. She was embarrassed because she always used to hear her mom say how folks give up on marriage too easily, especially when it gets hard and it's supposed to be for better or worse. And she just didn't want to give up or disappoint her mom. She didn't want to do that. Her mama raised her chin and said, "Baby, look at me. This is beyond trying. This boy putting his hands on you, spitting on you." Her mama said, "That breaks my heart." But she let her know not to tell her daddy. Cause sure enough, it's before June. Baby, Miss Bertrand would have been bearing another son. So her mom says that she know that she hasn't always told her how proud she was of her. And it was because she didn't want her to become arrogant and prideful. But she didn't mean for her to stay in no mess like that. She said, I love you too much for you to put up with anything like this. So they're hugging and crying. Then Pastor walks in. He asked them, hey, what's going on here? The mama says, we're talking about our period. He said, Gene, now you still having the period. She gave him this side eye and he said, look, I'm going out back. The mama's like, they'd always get rid of him. And they start laughing again. So then she goes upstairs, Ava, she goes upstairs and she calls Rona to find out if she told her mom about the letter. And Rona says, girl, no. But did she find it? She said, yeah, and she read it, but it's okay. We had a conversation that I feel like we really needed to have. So Rona says that she was about to, fill her car up and she coming down there, but Ava told her it was okay. And she thanked her, for covering for her at work. Then she heard footsteps and it was her dad. And Rona was like, wait, did he read it? Ava says, girl, he be in jail. You know that man ain't read that. She was like, oh yeah, that's right. And one thing I could say about Rona, she is always ready to be there for her friend. She will drop anything for Ava. And those are the type of people that you want in your life. Like a person like that with that type of spirit. That's just a beautiful person to me. So her dad walks in and tells her that he has to run down to the feed store and he asks her to ride with him. And he tells her how proud they are of her and that they could have been better at telling her that. They get in the store and there go Benji. And Ava knew it was a setup. She told her dad, I know you did this. And she asked Benji, did he do this? He was like, this the dad's house. I need to go get something. He walk away. Then Benji says, your dad did tell me to be here. And you can hear the dad hollering, snitch. So then Benji said, you know I can't lie, but hey, all he told me was that you were going to be in town a few days. She tells Benji that her and Dallas were getting a divorce, and Benji says that's good because I never liked him for you anyway. I ain't like how he treated you. But hey, I've also gone through a divorce. Maybe I can help you out. Ava says it was nice seeing you, and she tells her dad that she was going to the truck. Baby, why was the daddy peeking through the aisle and gonna say to Benji, boy, you ain't got no more game than that? I'm like, baby, well, you get what you came in this store to get. So Sunday has come and the pastor is preaching a sermon about God giving you joy when you learn to let go. Ava know that message is for her, and the choir starts singing joy, 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 joy. Yeah, that song Joy. And that lady, baby, she was singing the mess out of that song. So after church, they were having a bake sale. And Ava seems to be in her feelings about something. And her mama asked her, why you got an attitude? And she says, does everybody know I'm getting a divorce? Why did daddy have to preach that sermon? Her mom had to remind her, your daddy prepares his sermons a week in advance. Wasn't nobody expecting you to be here? So the way I see it, that sermon must have been meant for you. And then she looks up and she sees Benji walking over. And Ava asks her mom, why do y'all keep doing this? She was like, I ain't doing nothing. That boy go to this church. So Benji speaks to the first lady and he asked her, if I give you $20, will you go over there and buy some cakes for my daughter? Because they ain't selling too well because they very dry. And First Lady says she doesn't like giving false hope to children, but she has learned that you have to let them know that you're proud of them. And she walks off. As soon as she was out of earshot, Ava asked Benji, how much my parents are paying you to come over here talking? He don't know what she's talking about. So as she was walking, so she was like, excuse me. She walk off. She get over there by her mama. Her mama give her a piece of cake from Benji's daughter. And she tried to taste that, baby. I almost choked me. It was so dry. So later on that night, they were just sitting around talking, and Ava asked her parents to stop pushing Benji on her because she needs time to heal. Her mama said, all that on your daddy. That's your daddy's fault. And she tried to tell him that women can't just jump from one man to another like men do. So they let it go, and he tells Ava that he wants to show her something. And it was an old home movie of some of her accomplishments, like track meets, awards programs, stuff like that. And she wants to know, why did he show her that? And they were basically trying to remind her of who she was, the person she was before she met Dallas, when she had Joy. The dad never wanted her to be with him, but Ava wanted to prove to her parents that they were wrong about Dallas. And her mama said, look, You made it all these years and you have nothing else to prove to us. So they continue to play the tape. And you see the night of her prom, she looked miserable. At the wedding, honey, Mama Bertrand interrupted the service, yelling and asking Dallas why was he marrying Ava. She was going to make his life miserable. And then she slapped the bouquet out of Ava's hands and walked out. The brothers followed behind the mama, and Dallas followed behind them, leaving Ava just standing up there at the altar. The dad said he looked through all the tapes and he couldn't find not one moment when Ava smiled or laughed the way that she did before she met Dallas. He let her know, now I know you're not telling me everything that boy did to you, but I never treated you that way. I never talked to you that way. I set a standard on how to treat women by the way I've treated your mama. I didn't just talk it. I showed you how to be loved. And that's why I don't understand how a child of mine would ever let a man talk to her like that. We know you love him, and that's probably why he talks to you the way that he does. I think he loves to see you in pain. His whole family trifling. And he loves misery, baby. But don't you be his company. I said, you better preach, preacher. I guess that's why you're a pastor, ain't it? So the next day, Ava goes on another run, and this time she beats her time, and she's happy about that. She calls Rona to let her know that she's coming back home on the weekend and they can catch up. And then that night, Ava and her parents, they went to the fair. Ava walks around and she sees Benji, and she asks him if he could go for a walk. So they sit on the back of his truck and have a long talk. They talk about the night that her and Dallas broke up when she was 17 and she hung out with Benji. And that was the night that Dallas and his brothers jumped Benji and put him in the hospital. Ava told him that he should call the police, but he said, and I will still be having the same problems with them just like when they tried to jump me over there at the pool hall. She wondered why he never left their small town, and he says he just loved the country, and she understood that. She loves the hustle and bustle of Atlanta, but the country was home. It was her where she felt safe. And Benji said that she would always be safe when he was around, and the brothers don't bother him like that no more because he started taking wrestling. So she keeps sipping on that brown that Benji had with him in the back of their truck because he had asked her, did she hear some song and drink alcohol? Something that boy asked her. And she was like, nah, but she's sipping on that brown now. And he told her she better take it easy. But she said she wanted to get sloppy. So sloppy that she felt like she was out of her body. And he was like, yeah, divorce can make you feel like that. Then baby, she said, I want to be swallowed up. And they leaned in. But Benji, he only kissed her on her forehead. And she was confused. And he let her know that he wanted to, but he can't. And she said, you're making me feel unattractive. He was like, Ava, look at me. Like, really, look at me. Like, look past this belt buckle. Because everything about you is making me stand at attention. But you getting with me will be about him, not us. And I don't deserve that. When I'm with you, I want you to think of nothing but me. And she understood, and she, ended up falling asleep. And he made her some tea so that she can sober up, because she really don't drink like that. And that brown put her out. He offered her his number, but she didn't take it. She thanked him for being there with her and keeping her from doing anything that she regret later. And he understood. So both of them, they took care of each other that night. They didn't allow one or the other to be a rebound. They had mature folks conversations, and their no's to each other didn't create any animosity. So Ava makes it back to the A. She goes to work, and Rona was like, look at you. You look good, girl. And she tells her ain't nothing like spending time with the folks. Rona said, well, maybe I need to go spend time with the folks, because baby, if you coming back looking like that, I need that. And they're happy. They're happy to see each other. And Ava heads to her office. Here come Angry Bird. Angry Bird, he over his place drinking as usual. And he gets a call from his brother asking him if he's seen it. And he says, seen what? The brother tells him to check his text messages. Child, why somebody has taken a picture of Benji and Ava while they were at the fair? when she went and met him over there with the little animals. And the brother gonna say, I told you she been cheating on you. Boy, talk about it. And mama saw it too. Listen here, brother. Your mama is the reason y'all are the way that y'all are. And you are another reason why Dallas can't heal. Besides him not wanting to go to therapy, y'all feeding his mind with all of these lies and rumors. It's not helping his mental state of mind. You are not being your brother's keeper when you do that, especially if you ain't coming with some concrete facts. Now, Dallas, he's sizzling. He take his old unhinged tail down to her job, yelling and screaming, talking about he has sent her 7 text messages about going down there and signing those papers because the lawyer has a notary in his office. Now, she's working with clients and everything, and he just showing his tail. Rona tried to stop him, but he told her that she better get out of his face. So he's telling Ava that she better be down there at that lawyer's office tomorrow at 11:30 to sign them papers. Rona comes in and he gonna tell her, he gonna point at her face, cause baby, he do the little 2-finger point, honey. He said, you want to lose your job too big? And Rona let him know, I don't give a F about this job, but I know you better get up out of here. Now see, he didn't bark back at Rona like he do Ava. Then he gonna walk out and he say, I slapped the nose off your face. I was like, yeah, this man crazy. So Rona telling Ava that she won't sign nothing. She get a good lawyer and take him for everything he got. And Rona said, Ava asked her, can I ask you something? She said, yeah. She said, what does he have? And Rona looked, she said, you got a good point there. And Ava says she just wants the divorce to be over. She want to be in the black when it's over, not in the red, not even emotionally. So the next day, her and Rona head on over to the divorce attorney. They walk in. What's the fool name? Dallas and Jim. They sitting there. They get up. The Jim and the attorney, they get up. They greet her. She said, okay, where do I sign? Then he gonna say, you gonna see me sitting here? And Ava says, well, usually when a lady enters the room, a man stands just like these gentlemen did. I guess they were raised right. So she asked again, where do I sign? The attorney really wants her to have counsel there before she signs anything. And she says she don't need that. She read it. She understood what it said. So where do I sign? He gives her the papers. She signs everything and says, gentlemen, have a nice day. And she leaves. And old angry bird gonna tell Jim, you see that? You see how she acting? Yeah, she with Benji. And Jim had to remind him, you asked for the divorce. He says, I know that, but she just trying to embarrass me. There he go with that embarrass me again. He loves saying that, but he's his only embarrassment. Along with that old crazy tail family of his. Now the brother Morris, he don't seem too bad, but you never know, child. So they make it to Rona's house. And baby, Rona then set up a whole divorce party already. And she got a cake. There's a FU Ninja and bye party, baby. And not only were her friends and co-workers there, Rona had male dancers and a special bartender. And girl, it was Benji. Rona said she got Benji's number from Ava's mama. So everybody's having a good time, and somebody comes and whispers in Rona's ear, and she tells Dallas that your boy is sitting outside of the house. He like, oh, hey. So he goes outside and asks Dallas, why was he driving? Like, man, you lit. You shouldn't be driving like that. He gonna say, it's Ava, man. She wanted to divorce me. You saw how happy she was. And I'm like, Jim, because Jim said, no, she wanted you, but you and your family, y'all made it hard. Angry Bird gonna say, Ninja, pick a side. You my friend. I said, baby, is that Martell Holt's cousin? Cause what? Does Tyler Perry watch Love and Marriage Huntsville? Cause Dallas told Jim, you're my friend, not hers. And then he hears the music and he wants to know what was going on. And Jim said that Rhonda was having a girls' night. Dallas tried to get out, talking about, see that, man, that's what I need, women. But Jim closed that door right back and told him to get back in that truck. He tried to get out again and Jim closed the door again. Dallas said, oh, okay. So she got to you too. And then he scotches off. So Ava and Benji, they done made it to her house. He brought her home because she was a little lit, because before they got the car at Rona's house, Rona gave her a gun. You know what I'm saying? So she thanking him, right, for bringing her home and for not taking advantage of her when she was back home. But while she's talking, she keeps hitting on him and rubbing his arm. And he thought it was funny because that's not how she usually is. So he said he was going to leave, but she told him, you can stay. I got a guest room. And he's like, no, I'm gonna leave. She's like, oh, okay. And he said, Ava, really? It took everything in me not to sleep with you that night. A guest room ain't gonna work tonight. I want to have a meeting in the bedroom with you. She's like, oh, okay. Well, if we're gonna do this, you got to know it's only for a good time. And she just rambling. And baby, they go with it. He pick her up. He put her on the couch. He put the face in the place. And then she turned around and surfboards. And they have a good old time. Cause he was still asleep when she got up and got ready for work. That baby ain't budged. But she tiptoes down the stairs. And then you hear a spoon clicking a ball. Why is the Angry Bird sitting over there eating some Crunches? I said, who is Crunches? Y'all couldn't ask Master P for his cereal. And he was like, she was like, what are you doing here? He said, I only been here for 20 minutes. What? You not happy to see me? No, fool, she ain't happy to see you. You ain't even supposed to be there. She don't care nothing about that. She want to know, how did you get in the house? Because she had changed all the locks. He said, can't no lock stop me from getting in my house. Y'all know the same house he said he didn't want because her folks put the down payment on it and he didn't want to hear that MF mouth. Yeah, that house. Well, she tells him he needs to leave. And this fool gonna tell her that he know her and she needs to cut the SHIT because he's thinking about giving her another shot. I was like, what? What are you talking about? You thinking about giving her another shot? Boy, please. But Ava girl, that's the monster that you created because you kept dealing with his mess. And you keep trying to save him. And you kept forgiving him. So he says that he's gonna forgive all that stuff with her and Benji. And he done told his mom and brothers that they just gonna have to get over it. Cause she his wife and he coming home. He said he was gonna get his things out the car cause he coming back. And she was just looking at him like, this man can't be serious. So she tells him that she owes him an apology. And he said, yeah, you do. You got a lot of making up to do. She ignores all that and tells him that he hasn't met the real her. She ain't that 17-year-old little girl no more that was in love with him, or that 20-something that kept trying and trying, because that 20-something-year-old has met that 30-something-year-old woman who gives 0 F's about him. Cause what you mean you gonna give me another chance? She said, oh, I know. That's that mess your mama feed to you. Got you thinking that you the gift. But I ain't ever begging no ninja to stay with me. He asked her, who taught you to talk like that? Cause that ain't even you. And I was like, bruh, I am convinced that Tyler watches Love and Marriage Huntsville because that's very similar to what the boy was asking Mel when she was cussing, when that man had the nerve to tell her that he was going to file for full custody, and he did the same thing at the soft opening for Black. So she tells Dallas, you did, since you woke up the B in me. Now get the F out of my house. He said he wasn't going nowhere. He was going upstairs to take a shower, and he let her know that she didn't know who she was effing with. And he go up there, and I was like, girl, you just gonna let him go up there and just catch Benji off guard? Cause that man is knocked out. So he walked in the room and said, what the F? And she like, Benji. And he done pulled Benji up out the bed. And I was like, Benji, you better fight back. You told Ava that you took wrestling. Can you punch or something? Then she tries to pull Dallas off of him, and he done threw her across the bed and say, B, if you don't sit your down. Then Benji, he put him in, the headlock that puts you to sleep. And Ava starts dragging this man up out the house. And they put his old sleepy tail in the car. And Ava gave him 2 quick pats on the jaw and told him to wake up and never to come back to her house again. She slammed that door so hard it broke the window. And she comes back in, apologizes, and tells Benji she's sorry, but now she's on her way to work. And he's like, what? With all this that just happened, we need to call the police. But Ava, she just brushes it off. She arrived at work. Well, Rona gets there first, and she sees that Dallas is sitting across the street from the bank. So she calls Jim and tells him, look, your boy's sitting outside the bank looking all bloody and bruised. And he tells Rona that Dallas got into it with Ava and Benji. So Rona tells Ava she needs a restraining order. But Ava, it's like she ain't worried about him. She thinks he just needs time to cool down. So then we see Benji, he done pulled up to his farm, but he see Ava's dad out there and the sheriff. Baby, why are at least half his animals are DAD? And the sheriff thinks that it's poison and wanted to know if he knew of anybody who would want to do something like this. And Benji's like, Dallas, because he saw me at Ava's house this morning. And the pastor was like, in her house? What was he doing in her house? Benji told him to calm down because he handled it. The sheriff asked him if he had any proof. Like, do you have any proof that it was Dallas? But the pastor want to know, why does he need proof? Everybody know that Dallas and his brothers are a mess. Well, pastor's fed up and he said he is on his way to Atlanta. So Jim, he pulls up on Dallas and asks him, what was he doing? He started laughing, talking about, she playing me, man. She was messing with him the whole time. The divorce papers ain't even dry. And Jim is trying to get through to this lunatic and tell him that's not true. But now Dallas thinks that Jim knew about it the whole time. He thinks Jim has turned his back on him. And he tells Jim, I F you, and then he pull off. Now Jim, he really worried because he never seen Dallas like this before. So Ava phone's ring and it was Benji checking in on her, and she says that she was fine. How are you? He said he was good, and he hoped that Dallas didn't think that was going to keep him away from her because he done waited 17 years to be with her, and he ain't missing out no more. Then her phone beeps, and it was her dad, and that reminded Benji to tell her, Dallas poisons, some of my animals, and your dad was here, and now he on his way to your house. She's like, oh my gosh. So Jim is filling Rona in on his conversation with Dallas, and he said that he has known Dallas for a long time, but he has never seen him like that. And Rona tells Ava that you getting that restraining order because Dallas is effing insane. Then we see First Lady. She at the supermarket. She gets a call from Pastor, and he was telling her about Dallas being at Ava's house and that he was going to see her, he need to see for himself that she's okay. And First Lady tell him to be safe and that she loves him. They hang up, and now she's trying to call Ava, but baby, she look up and there go Dallas. He tells her, so I see you still come to the market every Tuesday like clockwork, huh? And I was like, now First Lady, you old school. You supposed to switch that routine up. He said, you told Ava to leave me, didn't you? You know she was messing with Benji. Y'all are just trying to embarrass me. Baby, when I tell you this man is stuck on somebody trying to embarrass him. Now, he done grabbed First Lady by her arm and everything, talking about, I ain't gonna let her embarrass me. And she snatches away and calls him a fool, and she runs out of the store. And then he done turned around and cussed the worker out, tells her, what the heck you looking at? So Ava gets home, and her daddy, he already there. He changing locks, baby. He done put cameras up. They go in the house, and he asked her if she got the restraining order, and she did. But Rona says, well, it's useless because he will actually have to do something. And that's crazy to me, because why does a person have to get hurt before the police will help? But baby, the daddy, he came packing. He brought her one to put in every room. And he told her not to play with him. You better put him up. Later on that night, Ava and Benji, they over at Rona and Jim's house. Who walk up? Dallas. Here he come, like, oh my gosh, man. Talking about, I came over here to lean on my best friend, but y'all over here with the enemy. Rona tells him she got a restraining order against you, so you're going to jail. He said, no ish. I know I got served on my job. Now I'm suspended until they finish their investigation. He gonna ask Ava what I'm supposed to do for money. Boy, figure it out. That ain't Ava's problem. You should have got the help she been begging you to get. Then maybe you wouldn't be over here acting like you ain't got no sense. And while Dallas is doing all of this talking, Rona is sitting over there calling the police and letting them know that there was somebody over there who has a restraining order. He tells her, shut up, B. And Jim stepped to him and let him know that he better watch his mouth when he's talking to his wife. So this man pulls that old F-boy mess and starts telling secrets. So he's like, your wife, huh? Well, does your wife know about Kelly? Rona says, yes, Dallas, I know. And he wasn't happy to hear that because his goal was to hurt her. Then he says, well, did he tell you it's been going on for months? And Jim says, now what you ain't gonna do is that line. Rona says, yes, Dallas. So Dallas says, oh, and she fine with it, with a whole ghetto. I'm like, oh my gosh, get this man from over here. Ava tells him to leave, and he steps to her and says, oh, so this ninja got you all bold, huh? Like, don't let this man get you, you know what? Well, he like, let me leave. Let me leave before I have to pump this ninja full of that heat. And Rona tells him, no, don't go away. Stay here with your baddie and let the police handle you. But Dallas walks off, and then Rona walks off too because she's mad about what he said. Because she knew about Kelly and the one time, but now she is unsure if Dallas was lying or telling the truth all about, about all the other times. And Ava doesn't want what Dallas just did to ruin their night, but baby Rona is over it. So Ava and Benji leave, and she questions Jim about what Dallas said. He reassures her that it was just that one time. I told you about it. We worked through it. We got over it. And he asked her, like, are we good? Like, we good, right? But she says she can't say that they good. And Dallas has done nothing but cause trouble in his friend's marriage. All because he's miserable, unhinged, and crazy. Shoot. So Pastor makes it back home, and First Lady asked him how was Ava. He said fine, but he walked right past First Lady and gets his Lone Ranger, and she's like, Clarence, what are you doing? He said, so you gonna act like ain't nothing happened? The cashier down at the store told me that mother put his hands on you, and you just gonna act like ain't nothing happened? So she's pleading with him not to go because she was fine. But the pastor don't want to hear that. He told her to get back in that house and lock the doors. So she's panicking and she calls Ava. Ava can't understand what she's saying because she crying, she talking fast, and then she finally get it out and she tells Ava, Dallas grabbed me at the store. I didn't tell your daddy, but somebody at the store did, and he grabbed all his pieces and he's headed over there, Ava. They gon' take him out. Ava tells her not to worry. They'll be there in about an hour and 15 minutes. And baby Benji put the pedal to the metal. And the mom is screaming, hurry, 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 please hurry. Pastor, he done made it over there to the Bertrand land. And Mama Bertrand want to know what is he doing on, bamming on her door. She said, so he asked her, where's your son? She said, I got a lot of them. Which one you talking about? So Pastor says, you think I'm going to let that boy put his hands on my wife? Mama Bertrand don't care. She told him to get off her property. And then the angry bird walks up talking about what you gonna do. He said, I should have slapped that bee. So the pastor let off a warning shot. But see, what he didn't know is that Dallas's brothers were sneaking up behind him, and one of them popped Preacher in the leg with that heat, and he fell, and then they just started beating on the man. The mama stood there for a minute and let them do it, and then she told them, stop, y'all stop and go in the house. And Dallas took the just long range with him up into the house. So Ava and Benji, they pull up and they put Pastor, the boys put Pastor in his truck, but he still has a pulse, and they call 911. They get him to the hospital. First lady was telling the sheriff what happened, but the sheriff said that there was not much he could do if he didn't have any proof. They turned around to talk to Ava. Baby, Ava gone. The F boys now, they over there sitting outside the trailer laughing about, putting them paws on the pastor. And Ava calls to ask Dallas if he hurt her father. He said, I don't know what you talked about. Then he asked her if she was with Benji the whole time. And she said, I was. And he's so much better than you. And the way he goes deep, making everything slippery. I tried to make you a man, but you ain't ish. I'm like, oh. So she's trying to set him off, get him all worked up. And it's working. Because Dallas says, I'll show you I ain't ish. And she was like, I'm not worried about you. I'm on my way home, baby, to have another meeting in the bedroom with Benji, because the way he makes me feel, you could never. So Dallas, he hangs up, baby. He hot. He can't handle that conversation. Jim goes looking for Ava at her mama's house, but she ain't there. So he calls Rona and asks her if she had talked to her. He wanted her to go check on her, but don't go alone. She said, boy, I'm already mad. I'm already mad as heck, so I wish a ninja would. He said, never mind, I'll call Jim. She said, he on the couch, I'll tell him. So she tells Jim that they gotta go. They need to go to Ava's. Then we see Jim, he finally get in touch with Ava, and she apologized for taking his truck. She said she needed some air. He asked her where was she, because she wasn't at her mama's house. And then you hear a window break. And he was like, wait, are you at home? She tells him that she has to go. And then you see the angry bird walking in all slow, talking about where that ninja is upstairs. So he sits down beside Ava at the island, still singing the same old song about Ava trying to play him. She asked him if he hurt her dad and grabbed her mom. He said, I did. Then he pulls out his Nina. Ava tries to explain what a good woman was, and that Benji had never crossed the line with her, but he still doesn't believe her. She tells him that she spent all of that time feeling bad for him, but he doesn't want help. He refuses to get help, but she don't feel bad for him anymore. Then she continues to taunt him, because remember, unfortunately, a restraining order only seems to work if the person gets hurt. So she starts talking about how good it is with Benji, how he schedules every part of her when they having their meetings in the bedroom, and that it was never like that with him. And you already know one thing them ninjas can't handle is being told that they ain't putting it down, because that's all most of them have to offer. So he backhands her and knocks her off the stool. Then he picks her up and does it again. She was like, that's all you got? That's all you got? You hit like a beat. Then he throws her over the island. So he says, look at you, looking and acting all crazy. I was trying not to be like my father when he was putting hands on my mama, but I had to eliminate that sucker. She told him that she can take a lot, but she can't take him effing with her family. But you gave me just the bruises I needed. He said, B, I'll break your neck. And he tries to get at her while she's calling the police, and she tells him that her ex-husband has broken into her house and he is putting hands on her. He was like, oh, so you gonna pop me? Because now she done pulled out that long range that her daddy told her you better have one in every room. And then he goes to reach for his piece, and she told him, don't do it. I'm telling you, don't do it. And he tried to pull it anyway, and she laid his tail out. Baby, I think she blew that man into the next scene the same way Jamie Foxx said LL Cool J did him when he knocked the taste out of his mouth. So the police and everybody arrived, and Rona tells the officer to check his records because Ava had a restraining order against him. And thank goodness she listened to Rona, and Rona pushed her to get it. The pastor, he gets out of the hospital, and as they're walking out the room, they see the Bertrands. And Mama Bertrand like, you think this over? You unalive my boy. You think this over? And Ava tells her, for your sake, it better be. Let it go, lady. She looks at Morris with an I'm sorry look in her eye, and both of them just shake their heads. And then the family walks off. And that was the end. That was the end of Divorced in the Black by Tyler Perry. That's on Prime. It wasn't too bad, right, y'all? Get down in the comments. Let me know what you thought about it. Please like, share, subscribe, and I'll talk to y'all later.